Hey, it's Ben Solomon, and welcome to this episode of the Techno Leadership Show. In this episode, we are going to be dealing with what's probably a slightly controversial question, but it's something that I see being asked a lot on different websites, forums, on Facebook groups around technology and engineering, and in like Reddit for it and everything. And that is, do you actually need a degree to get into technology and engineering roles? Now, there's a lot of caveats in this. First thing is, I personally hold a bachelor's degree in engineering and a master's degree in information systems management. So it's coming from a perspective of having been through the journey and having got the degree, so I'm not bashing it or anything based on ignorance, but rather from experience. Just sharing my experience. I'm sharing experience of people that I've hired, and I'm also sharing experience of people that I've coached and helped and who've gone on to go into technology positions and technology leadership positions as well. So it's not coming from, my opinion or anything of that sort. It's come from experience, having seen it, having experienced it, and having seen people who are senior to me in terms of years of experience in the field also having done it. So without no further ado, let's get into the whole thing. One of the things that we have to think about is, if you're going into engineering as such, the thing that you have to look at is your particular field a field that needs some form of licensing for you to be able to practice as an engineer? In a lot of countries, there is some level of that in areas like civil engineering, electrical and control when it comes to big industries. There's mechanical when you're doing work on big equipment. But even there, like in mechanical, you can, in some cases, get away with in Australia, it's known as certificate courses, which is done in TAFEs. In countries like India, it's a polytechnic certificate for those things. So you could get that to get an initiation into it, but then get into an apprenticeship and then grow up in the role. But if it comes to things like IT infrastructure, IT networks, sysadmin, system engineering, system architecture, going into then technology manager and CIO, CTO roles, and even coming from the other side as in developers, going into engineering leads, engineering team leads, and then going into engineering manager and CTO roles. I, from personal experience, would say that a degree is not really needed to get started, at least. It might be beneficial once you get to the management and executive leadership C-level roles, but I've seen enough examples of people from completely different fields going into CIO and CTO roles, which was quite unexpected, but has happened. So looking at it from that framework of real world, what's going on at the moment, if you're looking at going into IT infrastructure side of things, whether that's help desk, IT support, getting into things like infrastructure support, infrastructure engineer, network, all of those sort of areas, system admin, system engineering, and system architecture, system design, all of those sort of areas, you don't really need a degree to start. A lot of the knowledge and skills that you need, you can gain from doing short courses, doing fundamental courses, whether that's A plus certification for very basic hardware stuff, or if you're going into networks and systems, doing something like CCNA to get your foundation right for understanding all that. could be beneficial, but I still don't think it's necessary. People that I've hired in the various teams that I've hired people for, we didn't really look at certification. We didn't, like, I didn't care about certification. What I did care about is the ability to problem solve, ability to deal with customers when they're especially help desk staff, but for engineering stuff, ability to problem solve and logically, figure out issues, get to the root cause, fix that, also put it mitigation strategies while they're doing root cause analysis so that it doesn't disrupt business. For me, that's more important, and the ability to be able to work with the team towards a goal that we're all working towards, those sort of things, i.e. the attitude, the desire to learn, the desire to grow, desire to take charge of your own education, your own growth, all of that is more important. Like, come and talk to me and ask me, look, I need to learn X, Y, Z. Can you get me a course? Can you get me access to something that I can do this with? And I will do whatever I can within budgetary constraints and all that sort of thing to be able to do that. Whereas the person who I can't help is someone who thinks, "Ooh, I've got a degree in whatever and I can just sit on my backside and get on with life and I'll do the minimal and get away with it." Unfortunately, those sort of people you can't help. If you actually are passionate about what you do, if you have the desire to continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to improve the impact that you have on the people that we serve, which is our clients and the employees of the business that we work in, that's the most important thing. So for that, the skills that are important is having great attitude, having good communication skills, being able to transfer what you know technically in your mind into a language that's easily understood by people who come to you for help, and a sense of self-leadership, in a sense, to step back and have empathy, look at people, help them look at the bigger picture and support them achieve their goals, which at the end of the day helps us achieve our goals of maintaining the environment, ensuring security, and all of those things. It's easier said than done, no doubt about that. But if you break everything down and simplify it to the simple level, that's the thing. If you have a great attitude of wanting to help people, you start to step into their shoes and see why they're frustrated, why they're having trouble, and work with them to achieve outcomes that they want, desire, and would benefit from. And then once they've got what they want, then you can give them what they need in some sense by going, look, you can actually do these sort of things by yourself, and give them a bit more support to empower them. With all that said, again, if you're getting into technology, you don't really need a degree. You don't even need, certificate level TAFE courses and things like that. I know from experience that we've had in previous companies that I've worked at, we've had people leaving school in year 10, coming into an apprenticeship style situation, working in the workshop, doing computer builds, helping with backup services and all that sort of thing, and then growing into even becoming service desk managers and going further up. And no, they didn't do any other certification, they didn't do anything else, all was experience. In my humble opinion, nothing beats hands-on experience when you're in a technical role, and then having that technical knowledge helps you a lot when you get into a management and then executive leadership position. In a management position, you are managing the resources that you're given, managing your team, managing outcomes, managing projects to get the outcomes that come from a visionary standpoint, which comes from executive leadership. When you get into executive leadership positions, you are, in essence, matching business needs with the technology and the governance frameworks and guidelines to support that, so that they work together and mesh together and give your business, the business that you're working for, an advantage in the marketplace, also giving great experiences for your users, and whether they are internal employees, external clients, whatever that might be. So those are the like simplified things. And for all that, you don't really need an MBA. You don't really need all these degrees, bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and all that sort of thing. I've got a bachelor's degree in engineering in electronics and communication systems. The communication side of that helped me probably a tiny bit, probably 1% in my networking career. And then I went on to obviously do CCNA, did the course for the CCNP, but didn't do the certification. Did MCSE back in the 2000s. And certification versus reality was again very different. But the certification in some sense helped me understand what is possible, what are all the possible options out there, and what's best practice and all that sort of thing. But reality, you've got to always be improvising and ensuring that you can meet business needs while also being as close to best practice and meeting governance and security frameworks as much as possible. And then when it came to going into an IT management role, I found that 95% of what I learned in doing my master's degree didn't really apply in real world management. Probably the 5% was project management and people management kind of helped because I did some HR subjects and I did some core project management courses in my master's degree. That helped me in managing projects, managing vendor relationships and those aspects. But a lot of things that actually helped me was from my entrepreneurial experience outside of work, which is what I was doing, side hustle, so to speak. In the evening times, I had a couple of virtual assistants who I would manage, and I learned how to deal with people, manage and get outcomes while also helping them grow and get the outcomes that they wanted in their life and their career. That came into my role, and it was real world experience that won over or trumped over any education I got from going to university, doing a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and all of that. Theory is theory, practical real world experience is different. The saving grace was I had a couple of lecturers when I was doing my master's degree in Melbourne, Australia, who worked in the industry and taught some courses because they loved doing that. And because they worked in the industry, I got some really good industry insights from them. And they said, look, everything that you study in the book is good for writing the exams, but what you're going to be doing there in the industry is not going to be that. So prepare yourself for that. Prepare yourself to kind of unlearn those things so that you can learn on your feet, in the field, doing things. So that probably helped me a lot more than anything else. So when I went in to this management role, I went in with the mindset going, it's a learning experience. I've got to take care of my team, but also I've got to make sure the outcomes that are expected of me and my team are delivered in time, under budget, and effective. So those skills you learn on the run. Like you're never ready till you get there. Until you get into a role, you're not 100% ready. Yes, you might have the certification, you might have the technical skills and all that sort of things, but the experience comes when you actually get into the role, which is why it also frustrates me when a lot of employers, especially for entry-level roles, say, oh, you need to have a year's experience or 2 years experience before you can apply for this entry-level role. Damn, seriously. Look for people who are passionate, who have communication skills, who have the desire to learn, and you can shape them. You can give them the opportunities to learn in your environment and grow and make an impact. They don't have to have all that experience, especially entry level, to start. If you're looking for senior level roles, yes, obviously it's a senior level role for a reason. But entry level, look for attitude, look for skills and the ability to think, to problem solve, and do those sort of things. As I said, I personally believe that degree is overrated for the right roles in IT, technology, development, software development, and those sort of areas. In areas like civil engineering and things like that, yes, you do need the degree because of certifications and licensing needs that you have to pass through before you can do the work. So if you're in an area of engineering or technology that doesn't really have any licensing requirements for you to practice, for you to get into a role, I'd say jump in, get your hands dirty, learn on the run. That's the best way to get experience, because the technology field is moving so fast that by the time you finish learning, or let's even say by the time you start learning, it's already 3 to 5 years behind because of the time that it takes for textbooks to be published and all of those sort of things. So you're already starting 5 years behind, and you have a 2 or 3 or 4 year degree, so that's you're already 5 to 9 years behind. And by the time you get into the workforce, you might have some principles. I mean, it's great for getting some of those principal ideas, but there's a big gap between where your knowledge would be and where your skills need to be successful in the workplace. So you're better off doing short courses which are very, very up to date, which reflect what's going on and what's being used, technologies that are being currently used in the industry. And then that gives you a jump start that you can utilize to jump into a job, grow into the role, and gain that experience and continue to build that experience. And once you get into the role, if your company provides you with opportunities to do courses, do certifications, and learn, make the most of it. If that doesn't happen, take it on yourself. Even if it's a small Udemy course, if it's a course on LinkedIn Learning, which you can get for $20 or $30 a month, do it. Just do it. Keep yourself updated, so that you're on top of things. You can be a driver of innovation. You can be a driver of value for the business that you're working in, where you make yourself invaluable to the business. So hopefully that's helped you out. It's not something that was meant to be a rant, but it's also something that's very important, it's a highly sought after question. Like, people ask this a lot in different websites, different forums that I've seen, Facebook groups and all that sort of thing. The same question keeps coming up. Do I need a degree? Do I need a degree? So if you're going into these sort of roles, you don't need a degree to start off with. In the future, if you decide to get a degree because you've seen a certain niche that you want to go into that needs the kind of education and credentials, feel free to. But to start, to get a feel for the industry and get in and just jump in, get your hands dirty, do some small certifications to get yourself up to speed on what's current in the industry, and jump in and go ahead and grow in your career. I hope that's helped you out, and you can utilize this to jump over any mental hoops that you might have had thinking that you need to get this degree before you can start working in the industry. Get experience in the industry, and that'll help you gain confidence in yourself and growth in your career as well. So hope to help you more in the future with these sort of insights and thoughts. If you liked this episode, and if you liked, please listen to and watch previous episodes where I've added a lot more value and a lot more thoughts from almost 2 decades of being in this industry. And please hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, and if you want me to answer any questions, cover any topics, please leave me a comment below and hit the like button if you like this video. And I wish you all the best in your career journey, and have a fantastic day. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.